Okay, so I wanted to come on here and basically talk about the Mitchell brothers. The Mitchell brothers was on Iyanla Vanzant, Fix My Life, season 6, and I watch Iyanla Vanzant show often, and this is not my first time doing a review of an episode of it. So far, I believe I've done the episode with Hazel E. and the episode with Duchess of Black Ink Crew, New York, and Althea, whatever, of Love Hip Hop Atlanta at one point. So yeah. So I want to come in here and talk about the Mitchell brothers. We first met the Mitchell brothers, a little bit of their background. They are the offspring of two parents who was unfortunately on drugs, and a lot of them, they say that they when they were born they had drugs in their system. They have an older sister named Kizzy Cat. Her name's Kizzy, but I just like to say Kizzy Cat just because it's just it sounds good to me. Kizzy Cat. She's an older sister. Now, as far as the parents, now she's their sister, but she's their half sister. They all share the same mama, but she has a different father than all the boys. The Mitchell brothers include 7 boys, 2 of which are in jail, so 5. We have the oldest, which is Michael Jr. He has like a mental disability. They said that he was the one that probably had the most drugs in his system. The second oldest, now mind you, the 2 brothers that's in prison, they would be in between this next brother I'm getting ready to talk about. So the next brother in line is Marcus. Kind of the leader of the family. He stepped in the role to be the leader since the parents wasn't there. They also grew up in the foster care system, where they dealt with a lot, being abused mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. They ran away at one point. These folks done been through it. So there's Marcus, and he has kids. He has I think he said 4 boys on the last time I watched them on her show. Then we have Michael. He is kind of the peacemaker of the family. He's the one in the middle. Very level-headed and just the most calm one out of all of them. Yeah. Then we have Marvin. Marvin was the one that originally called the show way back when they first appeared on Fix My Life. He's gay, and he was one to call the show about the family, and wanted to get back close to his brothers. And then the baby boy is Melvin, who's also gay, and they're very handsome, like all of them. Just really just awesome, and just beautiful black men, all of them, and it's just so sad, and it's so unfortunate that they have all just been through, so much in their life. And Melvin is the rah one. Melvin got the mouth. Melvin is the one that's the most, I would say, rambunctious out of all of them. I would say that he's kind of the chatterbox. He's the one, he'll run that mouth now. He got a slick mouth on him. He got a nasty mouth on him. He is cute as a button, but got a nasty mouth on him. Make you want to reach out and touch him real quick. But we're going to keep this video not at that. So anyway, they've been through a lot. Last time they was on the show, they brought their mother, LaRonda, I think that's her name. They brought her on the show, and they also brought the daddy. who the boys look just like the daddy, and it's just trying to reconcile that relationship. Also, they brought the sister in and etc. And it's deep issues between the mama and the sister, and the mama and the boys, and the daddy and the boys with each other. So it's just a lot, and the sister and the boys, her brothers. So it's just a whole lot. Anyway, I wanted to break that down real quick, just in case anybody hasn't seen the episode. First of all, I don't know why they put Iyanla on Saturdays. I personally like to watch the show. A lot of people don't like her. I have certain things that goes on, and I'm just like a little about. Sometimes you can. It's very hard to distinguish whether she's doing something for ratings or whether she's doing something for actual healing. But I do understand that you have to make it a certain way for TV. But personally, I don't really feel like she does it, a lot of things for ratings. Simply because a lot of these folks that come on her show, they're already making the show just by simply telling the story. Because a lot of them have really been through a whole lot. When I sit back and reflect on my life so far, I really am, even though there are times where I don't feel like I am, or there are times where I want to be a better person or improve myself and improve my life and find myself and just be better, like, all around. I still can sit back and be blessed and be thankful that I have not been through half the things that a lot of other folks have been through. And that takes a lot, sometimes to just sit back and just go back in your mind and go through the memories of things and, things that you have been through that's been difficult for you. But compared to a lot of other people, I mean, come on, just brush it off, like, pooch on through, deal with it, So yeah, but I don't. Going back to what I was saying, I don't know why they have Iyanla Vanzant on Saturdays. I don't know who's rushing to go see Iyanla on a Saturday. Like, most people are drunk as a Cuda Brown on a Saturday. So I don't really understand why she's on a Saturday, but hey. So anyway, let me see. So, pretty much to begin this episode, all the brothers are dressed up in black, and immediately we see the two youngest brothers, Marvin and Melvin, they're arguing about something. Like I told you, the baby brother Melvin, he's the one with the mouth. Now, he got a nasty mouth, you hear me? So, but, I also found out in this episode, the one that kind of seemed like he was the nice one or one of the quiet ones, Marvin, I found out he's messy. He's mess, and up in the mess too. So I was just like, well, I thought you was just a little sweet, innocent one, just as adorable, sweet, precious face. But he liked to be up in the mess too. Maybe that's just a queen quality. I don't know. Do we like mess? Y'all like mess. Don't y'all be sitting up and judging me. But, anyway. So yeah, they're arguing about something. Iyanla comes in. Melvin's just like, Marvin's just like, I beat that bitch with a bat. Whoop to whoop. Now mind you, I might mess up their names because they all have names starting with the letter M. All of them. It's the Marvins and the Melvins and the Michaels and the Miguels and the Marcus. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of M's. So yeah, and all of them, their initials are MM. First name start with an M and last name start with an M. So it's a whole lot. That's a whole lot of M's that we're gonna push through. I tell y'all, I don't know what I would do without water and sweet tea. I can get rid of alcohol. I don't have to drink another alcoholic beverage in my life. I don't have to drink another soda, another juice, Kool-Aid, nothing. But don't mess with my sweet tea and my water. That's all I need in life, I tell you. So anyway, so they argue, and Iyanla comes in, change the battery. You know, she comes in, she's just like, what's going on with you? She was like, why is y'all doing all this hooping and hollering? If I came in the way that y'all, if I approach y'all the way that y'all approach each other, y'all would beat me up. Y'all would beat me down to the ground. And, you know, they was just like, yeah, and Kizzy was sitting beside him. He was so mad about something that happened. He's also probably one of the more sensitive ones as well. So, you know, he probably internalized a lot. It don't take a lot to upset them. But, you know, with that said, they're all sensitive because they've all been through so much in their life. And to be honest, even though they're brothers, it's kind of like they don't know each other because certain ones grew up with certain ones, and then certain ones they was in each other's lives when they were children for a short time. Then they got separated again. So it's a lot of learning they still have to do. They're all brothers, but since there was like not a consistent home that they all stayed in together, and they both had their parents and all grew up together and with memories and the whole 9 yards, it's a lot that they don't know about each other. So it's kind of like they're strangers that's related in a way. A lot of people, go through that, or, just kinfolk you ain't seen in forever, in years, and, they may feel a connection to you, but you don't really feel nothing to them. Because it's just like, well, I barely see you. I didn't even grow up with you. But nah, all of a sudden, we're just supposed to be family and blood. It's like, yes, sis, we're blood, but we're not quite family yet. I've definitely have dealt with that and dealing with that right now with a sibling. I'm the only child on my mother's side, but not on my father's side, who, passed away when I was 8. And, so I have, I had an older brother who passed away. And, I have an older sister. And it's like, because she's so much older than me, and because we did not grow up together, we all have different mothers. Because we did not grow up together, there's really not a connection there. And although I try to, create one with her and my nieces, it's like, it's difficult. Because, she's often always moving, and she just has her own things going on in her life. And I try to be there as much as I can, but it's just hard to establish a real connection there because in many ways we kind of don't know each other. So in terms of what they're going through with that, I get it. I get that part for sure. Let's see. So they all come and sit down, all 5 brothers. And, they get into, let's see. Michael, he's the oldest one. He's the one that's been through the most, with the mental disability, etc. And I've said this before. They are, okay, I'm going to talk about what I'm talking about, then I'm going to go back to that thought, darling. Y'all don't make me forget what I'm thinking. Let me see. So she had, there was a portion of the brothers that she sat down with before she sat down with the 5 brothers. And she had these portraits of them. It was a picture of them, and they each wrote out what they wanted to become, the better person they wanted to be in the future. And this was last time they was on the show. And neither one of them has really did the work. They kind of lost touch with each other, and they, have not created that brotherly bond. It's like they had it for a moment while they was on the show, but then when they left the show, it all went downhill from there. Excuse me. And she was just like, you're just not doing the work. Like, I don't know what's going on with you. And she said something very important, and I had recorded Iyanla. She said this to Melvin, the baby brother, about how he reacts to things. And this was just so deep, I had to record it. I don't own the rights to this, y'all.
Their That's what he said. So this is my thing.
Did you respond to that? Why? You can't govern your responses and reactions based on what somebody else does. You cannot. Not your brother, not your boss, not your lover, not anybody. You cannot, baby. You got to learn how to walk away, change the battery, practice a skill.
Basically saying that how somebody comes at you, you don't have to come at them in that way. You have to. There's a different, more professional, more adult, more mature way to handle things. And dear God in heaven, that's hard. If somebody coming at you all up in your face, rah, 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 whether it's a sibling, a relative, a parent, a friend, a boss, and depending on how close you is to that person, they're coming up to you, rah, 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 all up in your face. And because some people can be very, very forthcoming with their approach, and they can be real aggressive, and you try to walk away, but they won't let you walk away because they at that moment where they want to fight. And sometimes you just got to give people what you got to give me my got. You got to give people what they want. You want these hands? Is this what you want? Ooh, they're dangerous. Ooh, is this what you want? Right there. This is what you want? Is this how I fight? This is what you want? Then sometimes you got to give it to these people. The ghetto. That's all it is. Whoever the person is that's in your life. So I know how difficult that is. That's easier said than done. Iyanla, Miss Ma'am, Miss Honey Child. But okay, that's very deep words, and we're all working on ourselves. I tend to, at moments, not stand up for myself. I easily stand up for other people versus myself, because a lot of times it don't come out the way that I want it to come out. And if you're upsetting me, if you're coming at me a certain kind of way, I walk off and then I internalize it and go punch a wall or go throw a chair or pick up a desk or a person and and whoop to whoop. But a cat, a puppy, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm definitely, in my younger years, I was known for throwing things. I was definitely very hurricane-like. You know how a hurricane just pick up stuff and just twirl it around? I was very much pills thrown, Vaseline thrown, Palmer's cocoa butter thrown. I was not wallet. No, I ain't crazy enough to throw my wallet. Now wait a minute. But yeah, it's like, listen, that's so easier said than done. That is hard. That takes a mature soul. That takes God damn near to come into the room for me. But yeah, that's why it's a constant healing. One thing she said very important in this episode. She said many things, but one thing she said very important in this episode is that healing is something that you would do to the day you die. It's a constant daily routine that you got to do. And she ain't said no truer words, chef. Okay, so we have the oldest brother, Michael Jr. We get into him and the baby brother, Melvin. I told you these M's. And he talked about how he don't communicate with him. And Marvin was just like, well, you just talk about things I have nothing in common with. Like, I don't know what to say to you. And, we all can relate to that as well. You know how, like, you have family members that you feel obligated to keep in touch with because they're family, but y'all don't really have a connection on nothing. Y'all don't like the same things. Y'all have absolutely nothing in common. But, also, and I said this last time when I watched it. I didn't say it to y'all because this is my first review on the Mitchell Brothers. But when they was on the first time, I said this, they're embarrassed by him, because he's the one that's, has the mental, thing going on. So they're embarrassed by him. I completely saw that from the beginning. And, he got up, he was enraged, Michael Jr., because he felt like he was being slighted, I guess, on his feelings. So he got up and he was just like, no, you're lying. Like, I'm your brother. You don't see me. You don't even pick up the phone when I call. Like, I love you. Like, why don't you just talk to me? And I teared up because that just broke my heart. And what Iyanla was saying, basically, what he's saying to y'all is that he's lonely. He don't feel like y'all pay him any attention. The daddy put him out because they got into a real bad argument. That's what Marvin said. Marvin be spilling the tea. Marvin's Bessie Wessie. And so, he's going through a lot. He's depressed. He thought about committing suicide. And it was just so, it was so deep. It was so hard. And, Melvin, he was taking it as a personal attack. Like he was attacking him and stuff. And he don't want to be seen as the bad guy all the time. He getting tired of that. Iyanla was just like, no, that's just his experience. Just like you have your experience and your views and your valid opinions, so does he. And this is another important thing she said that applies to me in my life. She says that you don't have to make someone wrong if their experience is different from yours. And I was like, ooh, because that's me. That's me all day. If I know in my heart of hearts that I'm right on something and you're coming at me in a certain kind of way, or if I'm being attacked or kind of chastised by friends on something, and I legit feel like I got to possibly take all of you down with my words, then I'm gonna explode. It's that hurricane. I told y'all about that hurricane. I'ma act the fool because I'm feeling ganged up on, and I can't. I try. I mean, if you take me to that moment, but I don't want to physically fight. But if I at that moment I feel like I'm being attacked by a bunch of people, so I'm gonna have to go crazy on y'all. That's the only way I'm getting these people up off me. So yes, it's like I get that. I do. It's just, it's so real, I tell you. So we get to Marcus. Marcus is kind of like the protector one. The more, I would say he's probably at the beginning, he was the most aggressive one. The most, what's the word that I can use? I guess stern, stubborn, most hard one. I can't come up with a word to use. But Iyanla broke that down real quick, child. He says that he felt like they're back because he felt like he didn't do the work. He still feels like he's the leader of the family because his oldest brother is, mentally not able to, and then the two brothers older than him is in jail. So he felt like then it remained on him. If all seven was still there, he would be one of the ones in the middle. But because, the condition that the three oldest brothers are in, now it's your turn, because they're all stair steps. They're all like a year or 2 years apart. Like, it's crazy. So, he felt like he definitely failed his brothers. He did not get it done, and at one point he tried to commit suicide. And Iyanla talked with him a little later on about that. Iyanla definitely looks at Mikhail as he's the peacemaker of the family, but he's probably the one that has his head on straight the most. And she was talking to him about things, and she was just like, what, at this moment y'all are not brothers. How about that? Y'all are not going to be brothers because y'all all feel this heavy obligation. So y'all are going to work on yourself as individuals. Then y'all can come together and be brothers. Once y'all are complete people as individuals, and that's true too. Let me see. So they brought in Kizzy, the sister. You know, she as the oldest, period. She has fell down on her job as well as not talking to her little brothers and keeping in touch with her little brothers. And you know, Marvin, the messy one, he was like, you know, that Kizzy is lying, you know, about a lot of stuff, and she was just like, yeah, but there was a lot that y'all don't know about that she was dealing with. Apparently, she was getting into it with some people on social media. Her and her boyfriend both decided to erase their social media accounts, and she had apparently broken her ankle. She had lost her job. There was a lot going on in her life. So she leaves, and you know, then we bring out LaRonda, excuse me, the mama who had on. I want this jacket, by the way. This is what LaRonda had on. This Kizzy beside her. Y'all see that jacket? Somebody buy me that jacket. I want to know what she found that jacket at. That's a nasty piece of artwork. You hear me? I want that jacket, child. That is a nasty jacket. But anyway, that's a fur. That's a fur, child. Y'all saw that fur. Anyway. So, you know, she came in and, you know, bless her heart. She's been through a lot in her life. I can only imagine. I believe she's clean now, her and the father, but she has been on drugs for a long, long time, and she's 59 years old now. So it's like, whatever damage is done now to her body, or with the connections with her parents, you know, her kids, it's almost, it is what it is at this point. It's hard to try to change somebody who's darn near 60 years old. So yeah, but you know, I appreciate the fact that they're still willing to come on the show and at least try. It shows that they at least care, and they do, you know, want to try to salvage whatever's left of a relationship between them. So she came in. We found out that LaRonda, she be her, and she's probably the closest out of all her sons. She's the closest to Marvin. And her and Marvin be having secret side conversations where they call Kizzy and won't tell Kizzy that when I'm on the phone. Like, apparently Kizzy was talking to Marvin one day on the phone, and Marvin did not tell Kizzy that the mama was on the other line, so she was listening to everything they were saying, which is messy, and telling me that, you know, of course, you know, he probably brought up mama and stuff, and so, you know, of course there are certain things that you don't want to tell your parents, especially if you have a certain disdain for something about them. So you're going to talk to, the next close thing you're going to talk to is your siblings. So, you know, of course they was having a sibling conversation about their mama, and, you know, he was being messy the whole time, you know, so it's just a lot of little stuff like that between them. Michael Jr., the oldest, he exploded and was just like, Mama and Marvin, they do all kinds of messy stuff, and, you know, Mama don't like Kizzy, her only daughter. Basically, he was saying that she posted on Facebook or something that she had like a portrait of all her dead family members, but then had a picture of Kizzy up there with them, but Kizzy's sitting right beside her. So basically, I guess in a way insinuating that she wouldn't care if Kizzy was to pass away, which is awful for a mama to say to their child. So, you know, and then she kind of gave it to Kizzy, the mama. The mama kind of gave it to Michael. It was just like, well, you don't like Kizzy either. Apparently, they all don't like Kizzy. Kizzy probably got an attitude or something. But everything comes from the parents. And that's what Iyanla was trying to tell them. Everything that your kids are is because of you. And Iyanla got tired of them arguing. She stood up. She was just like, I'm so sick of y'all. And, you know, she told them goodbye, child. So she went on and talked to Marcus by herself, and she asked Marcus why he put the blame on himself so much, which was what he was doing the last time, and he was just like, somebody has to take the blame. I was like, oh gosh. He was like, the real deal is I don't have custody of my kids. He was like, at one point, he was in his kid's life, but because of his lifestyle, the mother of the child had to, relocate and distance herself from him so that, his practices, who he is, won't rub off on the kids. But apparently that's already happening because he has a 12-year-old boy who is kind of going down his footsteps, and he got emotional. He was just like, he did not want that to happen. And she was just like, well, you can't continue to beat yourself up about this. Like, you just have to do better and be a better, example. And, stop beating yourself up about everything. So then she brought in Mikhail. And, she was encouraging him. And was just like, you are awesome. Like, you are so smart. Like, I don't think you understand how intelligent you are, how awesome you are. And how she asked, did he ever want to go to college? He was like, maybe. He was like, if he was to go, he wanted to study child psychology. And, she was just like, why? And then he got emotional. And, he doesn't have custody of his kids. And even though he sees his kids often, he just feels bad that he's not that much in his life yet. But Iyanla was just like, well, everything happens for a reason. Just like your brother Marcus, you can't beat yourself up about this. And you are a good person. Don't ever say that you're not a good person. But maybe it's just not that right time for your kids to be, in your life. Maybe you just had to get yourself together before you can help them, which is so true. And I know this is very difficult for parents. With you not being a complete person and then starting a new chapter in your life. It's like being a parent with marriage, everything. If you're not completely whole or and 100% confident and comfortable with who you are in all aspects of your life, whether it's you as a person, emotionally, physically, financially, like all that. If all that ain't set in place before you give your life to somebody through kids or through marrying them, then all those issues going to spill out into the marriage or to the parent-child relationship. And that's so true. That's true. Child. That's why I just feel like so many people have kids prematurely. They have kids when they're just not ready, especially financially. Like, I was talking to some friends earlier, and they were talking about this guy they went to high school with. He's their age. He's like 23 or something like that. And he has his 8th child on the way. 8th, darling. That means it took 7 to make an 8. And he number 23, like 23, 24 years old. That is ridiculous. Talking about, I want to get him out the way early. But you can't even afford yourself. You think you can afford to feed 9+ people? Oh, child. It's those society pressures. It's also just, some folks just crazy. But it's definitely those society pressures that put, that we all, are up against, that tell us that at a certain age, we should have this and this and that. Our life should be this and this and that. We should be making this and this and that amount of money. We should have this and this and that in terms of a partner or whatever. And they're not even married, and they're having all them kids. And who is that crazy hussy that's laying down having all these kids with them? I don't know the story. I went to a different school. But I'm just saying, it's crazy to me. You ain't gonna never have nobody having that many kids, ever. Child, you better scratch off. You better play the lottery every week and hope that it's in God's favor for you to win. Because other than that, you ain't gonna never have no money. You can never make that much money. I don't care where you working at to support that many people. Ooh, child. I'm glad what I do, and whomever I end up with, neither one of us can get pregnant. With that said, I'm Mr. Chalaki. This was a overall, this was a really good episode. This was just part one, though. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be 2 or 3 parts of their healing. It's a lot to unfold, and I'll probably be back every single time to review it because I can relate to the Mitchell brothers, not on most things they've been through, but just like the main lesson in all of this. And hearing their story just really just touched my heart, honestly, and I just wish the best for all of them. But I'm gonna go ahead and say 2 more parts to this. I don't really know for sure if it's 2 or 3 parts, but we're gonna see. But with that said, darlings, I'm Mr. Chalaki. Mr. Chalaki on Google Plus. Follow me at It's King's World on Instagram and Twitter. At It's King's World 89 on Snapchat. Chase King on Facebook. Mr. Chalaki on Cash App and PayPal. Run me my money or run me my fade. Run me my money the way I get paid. Stay black, stay tuned. I'll see you guys later. Bye.